Text-to-image AI is spreading like wildfire. These images you see on the screen were all made by text prompts in Stable Diffusion. Today we're going to look at Playground AI to create images just like this. In case you're new to text-to-image AI, basically what it is that you can create images with descriptive text, which is called prompts. You enter that prompt following a certain format to get the results that you want to create. So what we're going to cover today are the very basics of text-to-image AI generation, because my goal for today is to really just get you started and start creating. So I'm just going to explain this as we go. So the first thing I want you to do is head over to playgroundai.com. But what you need to do is obviously register for the website. So you would go up here to your profile icon. There's going to be a section here to log in, and then it's going to ask you to sign up with a Google account. Now, once you've done that, hit this button to create. So the first thing you want to do is come up with your idea. So to get started, I would suggest for you to keep this format in mind. So first you want to think of the type of picture that you want. So let's say you want to do a portrait. Then you have your main subject or ideal. And then the third part of this format that actually could be extended to a fourth and fifth format, but is your style cues. And we'll go over this as we go. So head over into this area here, and this is where you're going to enter your descriptive text that is known as a prompt. So for example, let's create a cute and adorable raccoon with a top hat and suit coat. I'm going to leave everything at default just for demo purposes. But the one thing I want to call to your attention is down here, there's an option to keep your images private. Make sure that's on when you create your images, otherwise all your images that you generate are going to be public, and some of them you may not want to share just because the results aren't great or whatever the case may be. So leave it at private. Then on the right, we have this option for which model you want to use. We have Stable Diffusion and Dall-E 2. Stable Diffusion and Dall-E are just models that create these AI images. There's another one called Midjourney that's also very popular. We'll talk about the differences a little later. For now, keep it on Stable Diffusion. Now, just underneath, we have our image dimensions. Again, we'll leave it at its default settings. And number of images, I'm going to select 4 just so we see some variation. And really, that's all to do to get started. So we're going to go down here and click on generate. Now, as you see here, you have your timer. It's already done, but it tells you how long it's taking. And as you see, we have 4 different results, right? Not bad for just a few lines of text. And we've gotten exactly what we put in, a cute and adorable raccoon in a suit, coat, and top hat. Now this one, the head's cut off, so I would simply just go down here. This is where your delete button is. And if you wanted to see this bigger, you've got these arrows here to open it up so you see the full image. And then we have other options here that we'll get into in just a few minutes. Now, what I really like about Playground AI, they make it very user-friendly. So if we go down here to this area where it says filter, it has various options here. As you see, like here we have delicate detail, radiant symmetry, lush illumination, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is just select lush illumination, and I'm going to generate another 4 images, and I'm going to show you what this does. So we're going to click on generate. And you notice that the text here has more description to the prompt. So think of the filters like presets. These are built-in prompts to get you a certain look. So now you see a difference in the quality. Now, if we look at it compared to these cartoon-like images, which I personally like, now we see these more detailed images that are a bit more artistic, right? So this is why I like Playground AI, because it has these built-in presets that you can try out. One of the things I'd like to do is add in the style of Pixar. So what I'm going to do here at the beginning of the prompt is put Pixar cartoon and I can't spell, Pixar cartoon of a portrait of a cute and adorable raccoon in a suit, coat, and top hat. I'm going to take off the filter for now and generate another 4 images. Now it's going to give me that kind of cartoon Pixar style without even the filter. So if I wanted to choose, let's say I want to do a low poly version and generate that, so the filter is going to add all these extra prompts to give you a low poly version. Now this one doesn't look low poly, this one does, but you see how creative you can get with this. Now what I encourage you to do is go into your profile, and we're gonna right click, open it up in a new tab, and this is your personal gallery. Let's say I like the style of this image. I want you to kind of study the prompts to see what made this image the way it is. So we had our original prompt, a portrait of a cute and adorable raccoon in a suit, coat, and top hat. Then you can examine all the other prompts, right? So Unreal Engine, that has to do with the look. Greg Rutkowski, these are all artist styles that the prompt is giving us. We have global illumination in terms of the lighting. And then we even have words like intricate environment. So the point of this is that, yes, it will take some work to understand how the AI works and how the prompts affect the image. The one thing you're going to notice with text-to-image AI, every word, every comma, even the size of your image affects the output that you get. So let's say I create a portrait style of the same prompt and the same filter. I'm going to click on generate. And as you see, we get similar results, but also some variation. Now, these ones were kind of misses. Well, this one sort of. It's got like a double raccoon thing happening here. This one is half a shot. This is something that I would like and maybe build on that. So even the dimensions can affect your result. Let's say I like this image, but I want to tweak it quite a bit. So there's 2 things we can do here. If you click on this, you see that it says create variations of this. So with a click of a button, it's going to create similar images based on that image. If I scroll down to image, you see that image is in here. And this is the second way where you can use text-to-image AI, where you use an existing image as the inspiration for the image you want to create. So if we look at the previous one here, these are all variations of that one image. Now, also on top of that, let's say I use this one as inspiration. So I'm going to go over here. There's a trash can button here. We're going to delete that. And I'm going to click here, and we see several options. There's an upscaler, which is very handy if you want to work in a smaller dimension and just upscale it afterwards. Face restoration. You'll notice with portraits and humans, the eyes may be messed up or the hands may be deformed, but it has a face restoration feature that works pretty well. Here we have the use for image to image option, which we're going to use in a second. But then we have in painting, which is something I'll cover later. Basically, it just helps you fix problematic areas. Then we have our download image button here, and then a copy link button if you want to share this on social, on Discord, whatever. So what I'm going to do is click on use for image to image. So now this is telling the AI, I want to create the image based on this. And if we scroll down, we see this section called seed. If you look at the description, it says different numbers result in a new variation of your image. Then we see this number here. This is your seed number. And this number relates to this specific image. Well, this one. And the way it works is simple. It just means take this image and keep the likeness, but give it some slight variations. So again, we're going to click on 4 images just to compare, and then we're going to hit generate again. So as you can see, there's very little variation, mostly in the faces and the small details. Like even the hands here, we've got this guy with his hands in his pocket. This dude, you could see the hands, and then different expressions here. So that's basically how seeds work. And also we have prompt guidance here. And I like to usually keep this between 7 to 10, maybe 15. Basically how it works is the higher guidance will make your image closer to your prompt. If I crank this up to 30, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the result you want. So far from my testing, 7 to 15 is kind of the sweet spot for what I've been doing. And then beneath it, you see quality in details, and it says more steps will result in a higher quality image, but will take longer. Let me show you a couple more examples. So this time I want to create a landscape scene. So I'm going to bring these settings back down. I'm going to go 960 by 640. We'll leave the prompt guide at 10, quality and details at 50. We'll make sure this is checked so that we can have randomized variations. We'll leave the sampler the way it is, number of images 4, and then we're going to change our prompt. And what I'd like to create here is an autumn scene with a waterfall and cherry blossom trees. So I'm going to type exactly that. And just to keep it simple, again, we're going to go into filter. This time I want to try lush illumination. Make sure I get rid of this image, and then we're going to generate this prompt. As you see, if we look at these results here, I got exactly what I wanted. An autumn scene with waterfalls and cherry blossom trees. That's fantastic. Now here's a beautiful thing with this. Maybe I want the main thing to be a mansion. So if I put a mansion looking over an autumn landscape oil painting, blah, blah, blah. We click on generate and it's going to throw in a mansion into the scene somewhere. If we look at this one, that's like my dream home. If we look at this example here, beautiful. It always blows my mind what I can achieve here. Now before I show you any more examples, I did want to go over pricing. Off the bat, this is the best site that I've seen in terms of value. So for the free version, you can create 1,000 images per day. That's like 1,000 generations, and that's more than enough. But there are restrictions once you pass 300 images, so you get lesser quality and there may be some size restrictions. There is a pro membership available for $15 a month, which is actually pretty reasonable compared to other sites. Now, I'm not going to go into detail pricing from the other sites. With the main Dall-E site, it's $15 for like 100 or 200 credits. And Stable Diffusion's official website costs $10 for every 1,000 generations. So it's more of a pay-as-you-go format. This is the best value that I've seen currently. One of the other things I want you to be aware of is using Dall-E 2. Now, Dall-E 2 is known for more of its artistic style. Stable Diffusion, personally, I find does better with, like, let's say portraits. Let's switch it. And you see that unfortunately the default settings are square, 512 by 512 or 1024 by 1024. So let's say I wanted to generate the same raccoon image, but we're going to use Dall-E 2 instead. We're going to choose 512 by 512. Let's do 4 generations, and we'll choose cinematic dimensions just to have some ideas. Then we're going to generate that. And as you see here with Dall-E 2, it's got a very different feel to it, more like a painted artistic look, even if we open up this one. And of course, we would get different results with these different filters. So let's say I chose moody impressions. We're going to generate that. There we go. And then we get these type of results, which I quite like. These two here, they look really good. Sometimes you'll like the results from Dall-E 2, or sometimes you'll like the results from Stable Diffusion. The good thing about having these two models at your disposal is that you can flip between the two. I guarantee you, if you're into this stuff, you're gonna fall down the rabbit hole just like I did, because really the possibilities are endless. I see myself creating composites of various images that I'm creating. I'm going to share those with you eventually. You can create concept art, photorealistic renders, 3D renders. You could create art paintings. You could use these images for visual storytelling. Heck, you could even create textured backgrounds for your photos. For me personally, this is very, very exciting times. So as always, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you already playing around with AI technology? And let me know also what else you want to learn about text-to-image AI. But until the next video, my good people, I'll see you when I see you.